Hello and welcome once again to another edition of First and 10 with Rams football coach Joe Prud'homme.
Yes,
I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. All I can say is we're glad to be here. It's been a rough 11 months since Coach and I last talked for everybody. But Coach, how are you, your family, friends, staff, players? How are you guys all doing?
Everybody's in good shape. I mean, my family's in great shape. Everybody's been able to avoid it. Knock on wood, and myself. And staff's doing well. We had one positive case. He was asymptomatic, never even knew it. Got it from his daughter, who got it from somebody at high school. But outside of that, it's everybody's doing pretty well. I mean, we're a little banged up physically, but as far as the COVID deal, we're in pretty good shape.
What were some of the challenges this very unique, weird offseason? We could probably talk the rest of the day on that.
Where you want to start? I mean, it's everything's hard. Every single thing that you do that you used to do easily is very hard. Water breaks, individual water for that. You have to temperature check every day. That's not that hard. But just the fact that we don't get together and have like social events, because we used to always do, every Wednesday night we did a cookout. We would hamburgers, hot dogs, hang out just to decompress a little bit. It was perfect time in the middle of the week. Can't do that now. And meetings are tough. Everything's virtual. Or if you are meeting, you've got to get way out and spread out. And football is a game of tight, close contact. What are they asking us to do? Don't do close contact. So that part of it, the whole, just the, I guess just the whole mindset of it and the lack of really being able to get together is what we all miss and what is really tough on us. Most of our players are in single rooms. They don't have roommates. That's hard. I mean, we talk about how we're inconvenienced or we have issues and whatever, and I hear staff members talk about, not necessarily coach staff, but just people outside, and they talk about, well, it's really tough, I got to go home and I have to hang out with my family. Well, you got your family to hang out with. They go to school, they go to practice, they go to workouts, they go back to the room. What a life is that? I mean, that to me is the part that I struggle with throughout this whole deal is college is supposed to be social, college is supposed to be fun. And the football part's fun, but the rest of it is just like a vacuum and just sucked everything out of the room with the whole COVID deal. So that's a long-winded answer for what you asked.
My hat's off to your tip of the halo to Coach Joe Prud'homme and all the football coaches and all the coaches in every sport, what they've had to go through now in the last 11 months, especially since the spring. In addition to the Arizona Christian game, which will count against the SAC championship, when do the other 6 games start then in the spring?
February 20th. We go through, and I think we actually have 2 byes in the spring because we are playing the conference game in the fall. And then everybody, I believe, has one. It's either March, I think it's March 20th. It's March 6th or March 20th. I'm pretty sure it's March 20th, where they have a league-wide bye. They're doing that in case you got to play a makeup game or there's something that's got to be made up along those lines. So that's the way it goes. I think we're done April 10th.
And then looking ahead, you get the quick turnaround. Hopefully it'll be pretty much back to normal. You'll be able to do spring and summer camps, etc.
I don't think you're going to be able to do spring real well. I mean, to me, that's going to be more of a restoration, getting them back into shape, really trying to wear the bugs off of that season, as well as just getting them strong again. That's what we've missed a lot during this. That people don't realize is, oh, y'all can go play football, but there's so much preparation work that goes into it to get them strong enough, to get them that real, to get their bodies ready for it. And sitting on the couch or doing whatever else during quarantine, and I know a lot of them do work out, and they feel like they can mimic what you're doing. It's just real hard to do. And so our guys have, they did a pretty good job of coming back in shape for the most part. Not all the way. The strength part was what we missed a little bit because leading up to before COVID hit, we were rolling. I mean, our guys were getting big gains. They were looking great. They were getting stronger, more explosive. We were so excited for spring ball. And then you get the call, and then you get the email, and it's like, who turned out the lights? It's really strange, really strange.
Hey, hats off to you again, Coach. It's Coach Joe Prud'homme, the Rams football coach. Have you added any new coaches, and if so, who are they?
Yeah, I've added 5 new coaches. We lost our defensive line coach, our DB coach, offensive line, running backs, and receivers coach. They all, during COVID, got pretty significant offers to go somewhere, so they took it. And so we brought in some new coaches. Our D-line coach is Greg Parker. He's coached at Black Hills out in California. He's originally from Massachusetts, retired Marine. He's been very good with our guys. Really, we raise and demand a very high level of what our expectations are. He's excellent at helping with that. He's excellent in the weight room, excellent with fundamentals. Byron Williams, he played at Minnesota. He's a retired Navy, but he also coached all the way up to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's coached a lot of different D2 programs. Loves to coach defensive backs and is really good. I've been real pleased with what he's been able to do with our secondary. Fundamentally, they're really buying into what he's teaching them, and I've seen an improvement there. He works his tail off. He's been great for us. Ryan Glover was at Angelo State, GA, worked in the running backs room, very good recruiter, good with equipment, done all kinds of different things. Has coached for a few years. He's out of Frisco. So he has a real good working knowledge of what we have in the area, the recruiting ties, where the type of players are we're looking for. He's been a very solid addition. Coach Sam Camp, was a GA and also works in position groups as receivers at Kansas Wesleyan. Well, Kansas Wesleyan has a very good lineage, and a great tradition, and they're probably one of the top 5 programs in the NAI. And so he brings a wealth of knowledge there as well. Has done a lot of the graphics work, a lot of the social media stuff, has a real good understanding of the DFO situation. So he's been a great fit as well. Him and his wife, Grace, moved down here. Our offensive line coach is Chris D. Giovanni, and he coached, he was at a D3 when he came to us. He's coached at a D2 as well, but he spent, I think it's 5 or 6 years at Edna Karr High School. Well, Edna Karr High School is in New Orleans, and he was there for three of their state championships. He was an offensive coordinator, assistant head coach, very, very smart guy. He was teaching chemistry. So you got a guy who has the New Orleans ties, is very sharp and very demanding as well, but in a good way. He wants to make sure we understand the basics. Our guys understand the basics. He's been a real good teacher for them and been a great addition. They've all been a great addition to the staff. And what's kind of wild is we all get thrown into this situation together where nothing is normal, and you don't get to do the normal day-to-day preparation things and what everybody's used to. We're all thrown in this together and having to meet virtually and having to do all these different things. But I feel like the chemistry has evolved nicely. It may have brought us back even closer together. I don't know, just because of the craziness of it all. But everybody has been, really open and pitching in and doing a great job of getting. Our focus has to be our guys. Of course, our own health and everything else, but our guys are our focus and what we can do to make this as good for them as we can in this environment. And when all of your guys have exact same, outlook, the same vision, it makes it so much easier. And they all understand that we're not going to jump forward to other things until we do A and then B. Then we can do C. There is no jumping around. And our mantra is build great young men, period. Football take care of itself. Build great young men. And they all bring something different to that end.
Right. Who are some of the new recruits that Coach Joe Prud'homme is excited
about? Got a ton.
About?
We got some really good guys coming in. We got a defensive end out of New Orleans, Edna Karr, Josh Randall. We call him the robot. He's one of the fastest kids I think I've ever seen ever on the defensive line. He can fly. Peter Savoda is a big kid we brought in. He was at Brook Hill in Bullard. He's from Czechoslovakia. He's 6'3", 325, and was a goalie on the soccer team. If that tells you about his about his athletic ability. Offensively, A.J. Bobbs, a freshman receiver that we got out of Atascocita. Atascocita's, premier program out of Houston. The kid's really electric and can really, really go. Those are some of those guys. Ty Williams, a running back that came in. We got him out of JUCO in Minnesota, but he also was originally out of Bryan Adams out of Dallas. He's very, very electric. He can go. So we feel like we've added some good pieces. Michael McDonald as a defensive end coming in for us. He's been a little banged up. We'll get him. Hopefully we'll get him for this game, but I doubt it. It'll probably be the next one. But he's a big-time guy. He's like 6'3", 250, can fly off the edge. So we feel good about him. Devon Granger's another D tackle we brought in. It's probably overall the best class we brought in to complement what we already have. Because we already have a lot of great players. It's just a matter now it's a good fit the way they all are coming in.
And speaking of some great players, you have a lot of guys returning on both offense and defense that will make an impact. I mean, especially that whole cadre of wide receivers and a quarterback. Who do you think is going to make the most impact over your returners on both offense and defense?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question because there's so many good ones. Collier Ricks has looked really good. He's looked really, really good. Offensive line-wise, Anthony Gurnell is really growing into what we think is going to could be special. He only played 2 years at Duncanville. Ever played football 2 years at Duncanville. So he's going into his 4th year of ever playing football. He's got a really high ceiling. He's looked very, very good. Our whole offensive line looks better. But the one, if I had to say, because you pinned me down on one, I get that. So I will say Collier Ricks is probably the one I think might really make an even bigger jump. I think, of course, Rolf will be great again. Defensively, I think Mark Seidler and Dylan Petway have got a chance to make another jump but I think Seidler, playing as a true freshman and being put in that position early, he's a very emotional player. He plays with a lot of intensity. Now that we got him, I don't want to say tamping it down or amping it, but playing under a little bit more control, and he has a better understanding of what we're doing. He's been making some great calls up front, and he had a good offseason. He wasn't one of the guys sitting on the couch, and he looks really good. I mean, he put on probably 10 pounds, looks faster, more explosive, and he's more experienced. So I'd say Seidler if I had to pick one.
How about a quarterback? I know you have 3 returners there and then 2 new guys that don't have numbers as yet on the roster. But who would start this week at quarterback?
It's going to be between Avery and Dalton. And they're battling right now. I mean, one day one guy's running the ones, the other guy run the twos. So those guys are, they're battling out. I feel good with either one of them. I mean, you got 2 very different quarterbacks. You got Avery, who could really function within the offense and really get everybody lined up and do everything. Dalton may miss 1 or 2 things along those lines, but then he'll reach down and make an electric play. You're like, how do you do that? So you got those elements going on between the 2. And then Justin Arth has been banged up. We don't have Justin right now. And then Jordan Flores is a big left-hander out of San Antonio. Mm-hmm. He probably has the best arm of the group as far as just arm strength, release, and he's got velocity. He's got a chance to be really good in the future. It would be a stretch to rush him in. He got here a little late because of everything that was going on with all the protocols and all the stuff we had going on. So he missed about a week of getting ready. So it's tough for a freshman to come in and play quarterback. But he's getting better every day.
What about Hans Laufer? I saw his
Hans is a big kid, about 6'4". We're working on his release right now. He's in a developmental stage, and I think he's got a chance to really push Jordan in the offseason. But as of right now, he's not quite ready physically. Mentally, he's getting there. You never want to just throw a freshman out there if you don't have to. So we're trying to develop both those guys and do a good job of both of them.
Talking with Coach Joe Prud'homme, the Rams' great football coach. Opener this week, the SAC. Well, it's not really an opener, but it's the first game of the season. It won't count for the championship, which will resume in the spring, which will start on February 20th. But at this point, Coach, how do you see SAGU?
It's who knows. They brought in a ton of JUCO guys, and I just don't know how that's all going to play out. They got a lot of Mississippi kids coming in. They're returning their whole offensive line. Several of their really strong defenders are coming back. They got one of the really tough receivers coming back, and they added a great running back out of Navarro. We're going to have our hands full. I mean, no question about that. But we're in the great unknown right now. Nobody knows anything. You think everything's rolling along, and then it changes. Boom, you hit a bump, and then what used to be a day bump now is a week bump or 2 weeks or whatever. But I think they're going to be well coached. I mean, Coach Smith does a great job over there. Ryan does a great job, and his kids will be ready to play. They'll be fundamentally sound. We're going to have to beat them. They're not going to give it to us, and that's our goal: is to not give it to them. Just let's get on the field and fight it out, and let the best team win. But I think our hands are full.
How hard is it, especially this year, when we don't have any tape
Right.
from any spring games or any practices or any scrimmages? How hard is that to prepare for a team when really don't have anything to look at?
It's tough. It's tough because they could have changed a lot of things on you. But most teams, they have a common thread of things they do well, and they like to do well. That was one of the things about being in quarantine and being, homebound for so long is you do get to watch a lot of tape. So that either works well for you or works bad for you because you overdo it or you underdo it or you just extrapolate all these things they could do and possibly, and then how can I rep these 1,000 things they do? And basically we just, you try to prepare for what they do well. And then you try to have contingencies for what they may do or have done to somebody else and done, had success. So we really don't know. I mean, we think we know, but it's like anything else in this environment. You just don't know until you know.
After a very unknown offseason, football is finally here. Rams will kick it off this Saturday, Farrington Field in Fort Worth, 2 p.m. against Sagu. Check ramsports.net for the game day protocols, and then ramsports.net/live to watch your favorite device, powered by Blue Frame Technology. It's a new outfit we're going to use this year. And best of all, it's free, so you'll be able to listen to me doing solo play-by-play this year.
Oh, wow, it's flying
we lost
solo.
Mark Ward and Cameron Irvine from last year. So,
oh, wow.
I'm used to doing baseball and softball and basketball, both men's and women's, solo, but so I'll have to be, color guy, play-by-play guy.
You'll kill it. You'll kill it. You'll kill it. You'll do great. You'll do great.
Coach, I hope you and the Rams will kill it this weekend. Yeah. Join us in 2 weeks for the next version of First and 10 with Rams football coach Joe Prud'homme. Until then, Jimmy de St. Christopher thanking our producer, director Ken Flowers, Ricky Dotson, and Ryan Keaton. And next time, we'll see you then. Adios.